You ever watch a video that just makes you feel nostalgic? It feels like you transport back in time. That's what happened to me today. It felt like Jimmy Neutron had built a time travel device that took me back to the most embarrassing era of my life. My first year and a half of college. This was the real goofy goober era of my life where I tried to emulate a mysterious anime character and was just genuinely creepy and uncomfortable to be around. I have no doubt my fellow peers were reporting me to the student body as just someone to be aware of as a potential threat. It was scary. Like, it was such a bad idea. I was built on awful Reddit advice and delusion of anime characters. I thought it'd be a good idea. I've talked about it at length before. And today I watched a video that served as a reminder of my shame. And this had to do with the couple of times I went to parties, which I've talked about a little bit. During this period, I did try and socialize to the best of my ability, and I'd argue I was the life of parties when I went out. And by that I mean I made people scared for their lives when I went out to parties. Let me show you a little clip of the video and then dive deep into what I mean. Yeah, so this lady's really busting it wide open on the dance floor here of this local dive bar. She's just going hog wild. I don't know if it's drug related or just the spirit of music has taken over, but she is transformed into the demon of dance. Her eyes are like glossed over, and thanks to the camera, they're like glow in the dark, so it's really intense. And she's throwing out all kinds of advanced maneuvers right there. That's like a million dance moves in 10 seconds. It's like she's trying to go for a high score combo in Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 here. But what it reminded me of is how I used to act at like bars and parties back in the early college days, because there was a couple bars near our campus that didn't ID check, so we would go there and I'd try and do shit like this because I thought by trying to be the center of attention, it would be good in helping me get laid. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. But I'd go fucking wild. I'd start popping and locking. It was like I was doing Wing Chun on invisible enemies, because I didn't really know how to dance super well, but I kept trying. I'd hit like sloppy body waves and shit. And I made a video a while ago talking about how I tried to learn to breakdance to impress girls. So, I'd drop to the floor and hit them with like the 6-step shuffle or whatever. And of course, you know me, I'm famous for the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse dance hot dog. But I'd drop to the floor and just like get after it. Like this. Give them some of that shit. It's just, yep. A little out of breath already. It's been a while since I busted that bad boy out. But yeah, I'd just fucking serve it out on the dance floor there, and no one stopped me. Like my friends that I'd go with, and they never told me it was a bad idea, because I think they just liked laughing at it. So I'd spend like an hour doing this shit on the dance floor, looking like I was on bath salts, and I'd never learned my lesson. So when I saw this video today, seeing her go after it like this, I was like, damn, it's like looking in a mirror 8 years ago. Watching her dance is like watching a dog with the zoomies, where they just start like running in circles and going crazy. I mean, hats off to her. Like, the confidence to do this and really just go wild at it, I think is fantastic. I always enjoyed doing it back in college, even though I know it made me look very odd to most people, but I still did find it to be enjoyable at the very least. But goddamn, the people next to her are gonna be leaving this bar with scars. The way she's whipping her hair like that shit is an actual weapon. That's some like actual Bayonetta shit, using her hair for offensive attacks. This right here is my favorite moment in the routine. I definitely think this would win, so you think you can dance. She hits him with like the praying mantis up here, and then into like a T-Rex arm combo. It's very rare you see a move like that executed so fluidly. So I thought she did a wonderful job there, and I really think it just helped put a nice bow on the entire choreography here. Unfortunately, that's where the video ends, but I'm sure the dancing continued for a couple hours there. She was definitely just getting started. This was only Act 1 of the performance. I think it's great all around. It seemed like she was having a good time. The people around her also seemed to enjoy the show. And I just wanted to talk about it because it reminded me of a silly time during my college days that I thought would be fun to share. That's really about it. I still think I'm one of the best dancers on the East Coast. And yeah, so yeah. I wasn't always this sex god you see before you, the apex of raw sexual energy. In fact, I actually came into this world a virgin. I was born with virginity. My father, he wasn't a virgin, and yet, embarrassingly, I was. And it stayed that way for 19 years, until in the spring break of my 19th year in this plane of existence, it all changed when my wiener nation landed on the shores of a vagina nation. Consensually, of course. It was an invite for the wiener nation to make landfall. At 2013 years after the death of Christ, I had finally lost my virginity. Like a crab shedding its shell, I molted. But what did I do up until that point? Well, I've already shared with you a little bit of my freshman year of college where I pretended to be a mysterious anime character, but this arc doesn't stop there. I used to think it was cool and unique to be a virgin in college, so I used to wear it like a fucking Boy Scouts badge of honor. You know, I would talk about my virginity to any female that made the mistake of listening. It was one of the first things I'd do. I'd basically fucking shake a hand and say, I'm a virgin. You're shaking a virgin's hand, which is probably the grossest hand you could ever shake. Because you know that shit is crusty. If these hands could talk, well, if this hand could talk, the stories it would tell you. So, but anyway, I thought because everyone else wasn't a virgin in college, at least none of my friends were, I was one of the I was the last one to lose their virginity in my group of friends, I thought it'd make me stand out. I thought it'd be like, wow, that guy's a virgin? Holy shit. I didn't even know this existed in this college anymore. Damn, that's exotic. I gotta get in there. It wasn't the case. In fact, it was just super creepy. But I wouldn't listen to my friends. One of my friends sat me down as like a fucking intervention. He was like, Charlie, look, you gotta stop telling people you're a virgin. It's weird and it's not gonna work. But I didn't believe him. I thought he was working with like the Illuminati trying to restrict my power. But today I look back on that and I see he was a fucking saint. He knew what I didn't. How creepy that was. I was like a fucking vegan. I wouldn't shut the fuck up about being a virgin. Like in parties and shit, if I'd been drinking, you know the virginity talk was coming. I was like a parent giving the birds and the bees talk to their children. And God help the poor women that talked to me when I was drunk and talking about virginity, because sometimes I'd talk about it in different accents. Sometimes I'd be an Irish virgin, other times a Russian virgin. I thought it would be something different and cool. And I acted like I was proud of it. You know, I've held on to my virginity this long. Fuck yeah, baby, this one's for Jesus Christ up there. But I wasn't proud of it, and I knew Jesus wasn't proud of my virginity either, nor my attempt to spit the game at the parties by talking about virginity. That was never going to work. But it didn't stop me. You see, this all took place around the time that I got my main lead acting role in the Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1. I've already shared that story with you. So when I used to meet these women at parties and shit, I would have this 1-2 combo. Hey, I'm in the Hunger Games. And I'm a virgin. That's a fucking irresistible man right there. That right there is a recipe for an Adonis. And let me tell you what, that didn't help very much. But I used to have the Mockingjay trailer on my phone, and I'd show the trailer if they were unfamiliar and just pretend that I was in it, and I wouldn't go back to show them. I'd just be like, oh, there I am. Oh, I was quick, you missed it. I must have tried this combination move 100 times. Like a Japanese bladesmith, I'd keep folding it over, smashing it down, making it sharper, better, refining it, until finally it worked one time. I met a girl at a party, we talked, we made out, exchanged numbers, and we're going to get together for a date. Date comes around and you can already guess the conversational topics. Hey, what's your major? Where are you from? Are you a virgin? No? Why not? I am. Bang. Game over. There's no coming back from that kind of shit. I don't know why the fuck I just felt this compulsive desire to constantly talk about it. It's really not like it was a crowning achievement, and not even to me. I constantly wanted to lose my virginity, and yet I'd constantly hype it up like it was the best part of me. It's just wild shit, and you know, it taught me a hard lesson. That's pretty much when I learned the most important lesson. Stop bragging about virginity. This desire to be unique between being an anime character in college, the fucking mysterious anime character, to being a virgin fucking evangelist constantly preaching the good word of virginity. This desire to be unique really fucked me and hindered me very much in my early formative college years. Also, during this time, I had a friend that was a female. I very much liked her. We were friends for like a year. The feelings weren't mutual. I was very into her. She had none of those same feelings for me, but it didn't stop me from telling her that I was saving my virginity for her. How noble. They say chivalry's dead, but yeah, I used to tell her that my virginity is going to be hers for the taking. That had to be the last fucking thing on her Christmas list every goddamn year. It must have been the scariest and most alarming thing someone could tell you like that. And it wasn't just like a 1 or 2 time fluke thing where I mentioned that by accident. No, I told her that shit like all the time. If we texted, it'd be like a lullaby for me. You know, I'm going to bed now. Do you want to kiss my virginity to sleep with your pussy lips? No? Alright, just keep in mind I'm a virgin when you go to sleep tonight. Have dreams about my virginity. It's something I mention frequently because I really thought, in my fucking delusion, that being a virgin and being unique like that was cool and not weird. You know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe nowadays things have changed and being a virgin's the coolest goddamn thing in the world next to pissing in your pants. But back then it certainly wasn't, and definitely not my approach of mentioning it all the fucking time. I think you could be the coolest man in the world, but if you keep mentioning the same shit over and over again, it's gonna make you look like a fucking weirdo. Actually, let me hit you with a fun trivia fact for when you play Critical Jeopardy with your family. The girl I'm talking about in this story here is actually the reason I kept the beard. You see, for the Hunger Games role I got, they asked that you grow out your facial hair, which I'd never even considered doing before. I'd always been clean-shaven. I looked like an 8th grader in debate club. But when I grew it out for that role, she said it looked good, so I kept it, and I never looked back. And now if I shaved it, I'm sure I'd look like a bag of assholes collided with another bag of assholes. So yeah, I guess gloating about virginity wasn't all bad. But trust me, it was all bad. If there's any lesson to take away here from my experience for all of you watching, it would be, don't use like a defining characteristic and shove it down people's throats. Don't try and force people into thinking you are special or unique. Just be yourself, and if they view you as special or unique, great. If they don't, who gives a shit? The two that come to mind right away are vegan and atheist, where people constantly mention those two things that they're associated with that. At least that's the big meme on the internet, and I've only seen it in real life a couple of times, so I don't know how prevalent that is. But just going around and saying things like, I'm a vegan, I'm an atheist, I'm a virgin, and constantly bringing those things up and calling attention to it just makes people not want to be around you. It's a pretty toxic social environment when you're just constantly talking about what you think makes you unique and special. That would be kind of the takeaway from this virginity bragging story, I'd say. Yeah, that's about it. See ya. It's been a little while since the last time I sat you down at the fireplace with my bathrobe slightly ajar to tell you an embarrassing story from the period in my life where I've LARPed as a fucking mysterious anime character. This was around the time I was like 18, 19 years old, so like freshman, early sophomore year of college, and I've told many a pathetic story from this sad compendium of miserable social ineptitude, and there's one I haven't shared with you that I thought I'd share today. This was actually the first date I ever went on, like first official date. I'll just give you a brief lore update for those that haven't seen any of the other videos. Back in early college years, I thought it'd be great to reinvent myself as a mysterious anime character in real life. It worked for the anime characters. Girls were always trying to constantly like gobble on their meat. And so I thought, well, if it worked for them, it could work for me. So I wanted to be like super unique. I wanted to wear a chain with my favorite video game disc on it, Psychonauts. So just be like a fucking chain with Psychonauts on it. I also refused to talk to people. So if people talked to me or asked me questions, I'd respond with like moans and grunts instead of words. And it was really goofy shit. Like talking to me would be like talking to an NPC in Banjo-Kazooie where they just respond with that's how I would pretty much respond to shit, or just complete silence. I have no doubt a lot of people on campus probably reported me to authorities as a potential threat to the university in those early year and a half, however long I spent doing that. But I eventually grew out of it. But during this time, I actually did get a date. My first real official date. Now, while this was my first date, it wasn't like I was a completely kissless virgin. I was a virgin who had been kissed once. It was a dare. A girl was once dared to kiss me because that was seen as such a punishment that in a truth or dare game, they made it a dare to kiss me. And I was like, fuck yeah, this is my time to shine. Probably pre-came and shit my pants at the same time. But anyway, I managed to get this date because a friend of mine from high school actually invited me to a party. We hadn't seen each other in quite some time, and they invited me out to go drink with them. At the time, I was completely straight edge. I didn't want to touch drugs. I didn't want to touch beer. I also wasn't even sure I ever wanted to lose my virginity. I was starting to think it might even be best if I didn't. But they invited me to this party, and I was still in this mysterious anime phase, and he invited me to play beer pong with him, and I was like, well, as long as I don't drink. And he's like, fuck it, Charlie, I'll just drink for you. Just fucking play with me. And I was like, sure, let's go. So we were playing, and then eventually his friends called him to do like a keg stand or something, so I needed a partner, and a girl hopped in to play with me. And I didn't say a fucking word to her. And I guess that must have been cool enough because she started talking to me, and then I eventually like mumbled out like, do you want to go to the beach? And she said yes. She gave me her number, and we set up a beach date for the next day. And my God, I don't even think I slept that night. I remember that night after the party, I went back to the dorm and I was just busting out hundreds of crunches and like bicycle crunches and shit, trying to sculpt out my abs speedrun style. I didn't eat. I only drank a ton of water, just trying desperately to get my six-pack to pop out a bit more. I was a lot leaner back then because all I focused on was being like ripped, but my arms were super skinny, so I just kind of looked like an actual poorly drawn anime character physique-wise. Nowadays, I'm just actually fucking jacked, but back then I was like, all I need is abs, and girls will want to fuck me real good. So I'm in my dorm for hours just fucking doing an impromptu P90X routine till the sun comes up. And I text her, she doesn't respond, I start to panic, I texted her again, still didn't respond, I'm fucking freaking out, I'm like, oh my God, I've ruined it, I fucking blew it, holy shit, it's all over, she hates me, she probably reported me to the police because I was creepy, oh my fucking God. I text her again, I fucking triple texted her, literally the worst possible thing you could do. She finally responds just saying she was sleeping, and then I realized that that's probably about par for the course because it was like 9 a.m. I was like, it's fucking like Saturday, and I'm texting her at 9 a.m. like 1,000 times. It stands to reason that she might just be sleeping in. Fucking having a manic episode in the text messages there at 9 a.m. and then she still agrees to meet with me. She's like, yeah, we're still down for the beach, let's go. So we meet at my car. I play my boner jams, which was a real risk for me because the music I listened to then and the music I still listen to now isn't really popular. It's mainly like metal and shit like that. And luckily she likes that music. In fact, she even knew some of the bands like Cybreed. She likes Cybreed, which is still my favorite band right now. So that was cool, but I'd never done small talk or anything. So I didn't know how that was supposed to go. And I think she was picking up on that, so she took the initiative to talk to me. So she asked me, hey, did you have fun at the party last night? I said, nope. Which is a great response because, I mean, that's super cool. Like, hey, this guy is so goddamn badass. He didn't have any fun last night. But I do remember saying the only cool thing about the party was meeting you. I was like, that's kind of suave. So I hit her with that bit of smooth ass cheeks right there, to which she didn't really say anything. At least I don't remember her saying anything. Maybe she had just gotten completely sodden panties and, that's probably what happened. But she continues, standard stuff. What's your major? At the time it was digital arts. This was before I switched. Do you like digital arts? It sounds cool. What is that? And I was like, I fucking hate it. It's just making 3D animations. It sucks. So I'm just constantly doing my best to ruin any kind of positivity. That whole car ride was basically like condensed pessimism on wheels. And so she just keeps asking me these questions to which I'm giving like the worst responses to imaginable, convinced like the anime characters I've seen before that being different or being negative is cool to women, which it's definitely not. But she eventually gets to the dagger. What do you do? Like, she probably assumed I had like a job or something because she did. So she's like, well, what do you do for work? What do you do? And I was like, can't get into that. It's a secret. Which obviously piqued her interest because, like, what the fuck does that mean? Am I like a CIA spy? Am I a hitman? An assassin? Like, what the fuck is that? She's like, well, what do you mean it's a secret? I was like, I just can't get into that. I can't talk about it. So she keeps poking the sleeping bear. She's like, well, what do you mean? What do you do? Like, it's kind of weird. Like, what do you do? And eventually I'm like, I make videos on the internet. Keep in mind, this is 2013. The idea of being a YouTuber was a foreign concept back then. I'd also never told anyone about this. I never said out loud that I made videos online. I always kept that like my biggest top secret. I never ever talked about it, but in this instance, I was fucking desperate. I was pulling out all the stops. I was emptying my pockets of all the possible fucking spaghetti I could fill on the floor, vomiting anything that might help my chances of getting me laid. I would have told her I was Santa Claus if I thought it would help my chances of getting my cock wet. I was just going all out, Just this once, just trying. So I told her I make videos on the internet, and she laughed at me, which just felt phenomenal. She thought I was just kidding because I had hyped it up so much to that grand, wet fart of a reveal. She was probably just relieved more than anything because she probably thought I was a psychopath with the way I was answering, but I dropped that nugget of truth on her, and at the time, like I said, this wasn't really anything anyone talked about. Like, YouTuber wasn't a thing back then. Most of the most popular shit was like Facebook pages that people knew. And when it came to YouTubers, most people only knew like the biggest ones. The big one back then that I remember most people talking about was Epic Mealtime. And I also remember even things like I'm Schmacked were kind of big back then. But other than that, there wasn't a ton else that college students would think of when they hear of internet content creator YouTuber. So she didn't really find that all that impressive, and I've never treated it like a job or anything, but I just thought it was going to be a good answer to that question, one that she probably hadn't heard before, and she probably never did hear it before because she just straight laughed at it, which it didn't make me feel like my chances were being helped. She thought that I was just making like a joke out of it because I just made it like this hyped up thing, like, no, it's a big secret. It's a fucking government secret. I'm not allowed to say it. If I say it, the government's gonna come fucking kill me. And then I just reveal like I make fucking gameplay and commentary videos on YouTube. So she giggled at that, and then she asked what the channel was, so I showed it to her when we parked. I brought up the channel, and at the time, the channel video that would autoplay was my titty simulator game, which of course was a kind of weird look, so I bring that up. At the time I had like 800,000 subscribers, which is a fucking ton, and she was impressed by the number, but the content itself I don't think she was too fond of, because it was titty simulator, with me talking about fucking honkin' milkers being dragged around by their nipple, and then some of the other related ones were other weird games like don't shit your pants and things. So she didn't really want to stay on the channel that long, but she said congratulations to me, and I was like, oh, okay, it didn't really work very well now, did it? So we finally arrive at the beach. Confidence is shot. I can tell that this mysterious anime character facade's not doing me any favors. So we end up just going to like a pretty crowded area on the beach at Clearwater and just laying down, and she played music with her earbuds in. and I just kind of laid there, pretending like this was productive. Like, yeah, I'd always wanted a tan. I'll just fucking lay here with my ass cheeks hanging out, I guess. Why not? And just fucking sit there doing nothing while she's listening to music at the beach. At the end of it, I just kind of felt like I was an Uber driver who stayed a little too long. Like, she requested a ride, but then I had nothing else to do, so I also just went to the same destination. So we just kind of stayed there for like an hour, and then she's like, all right, I'm ready to head back. I'm kind of hungry. I didn't even bother asking if she wanted to get food with me, because I could already just pick up on the vibe here that it wasn't really going anywhere. So we go back, and then she hugged me, and I was like, fuck, it was all worth it. I got a hug. Let's go. Woo! So I got a hug out of it, which means I was a champion that day, but we never talked again, surprisingly. And that's how my first date went. So overall, pretty successful. Got off to a great start, really, in the whole romance world. And yeah, I just wanted to share that with you. I also think it's a pretty interesting look at how things have changed recently, because back then, YouTuber wasn't even a word in anyone's vernacular. No one had ever really like heard of that before. It wasn't really an explored concept, just kind of like this emerging hobby that some people would pick up on. But nowadays, I think it's like 60% of kids want to grow up to be like a YouTuber or internet creator, which is wild. So in less than a decade, it has completely changed. But back then, yeah, that shit was not looked at too positively. But anyway, I just wanted to share this story because I haven't done this one before, and I thought it was worth sharing. That's about it. See ya. I don't think I've ever shared a story about myself so embarrassing that it changes the way you look at me. I've shared a lot of embarrassing stories with girls and shit that I've had in the past, but nothing that's so goddamn game-changingly cringe-inducing that you vomit and think less of me until today. I was trying to think of a story that I wanted to talk about because I wanted to tell a really embarrassing one today, but I wanted to like amp this shit up to like the highest fucking level I could. So I was going to my past, of which there's a myriad of embarrassing stories to choose, but I wanted to find the perfect one. And then I remembered something that made me sick to my goddamn stomach, so I can't wait to share it with all of you. So to preface this happened in high school. The year is 2011. This was right after my third lung collapse. If you've been following me for a while, you know my lung collapsed 3 times, and the last time it happened was 2011. Well, in 2011, I got surgery to have it fixed, and before I went into surgery, there was a girl I had a crush on that had just added me back on Facebook, and I decided I'd send her like this goddamn scholarly "oorah, I love you" message to her, and we had never spoken. So this girl and I never spoke once in our lives, not even by accident. If I farted somewhere in school, there's no way she would ever fucking smell it because we were never even close to each other in any sense of the word. The only reason we even knew about each other, or rather the only reason I knew about her, was because she was a cheerleader and I played basketball. Other than that, no communication, literally not even eye contact. And yet for some reason, in 2011, I sent this girl the most disgustingly embarrassing messages when I was in the hospital. I haven't read them. I screenshotted them today, and I sent them to myself so I could read them to you today, and we can experience this together as a lesson in how not to ever approach a woman in any way. So allow me, please. Pickup artist legend Charlie is going to guide you through the how-don'ts, the do-nots of women. So let's go ahead and get into these messages here. So ace pussy slaying god Charles in 2011 leads with, I know you and I have never talked, but I just wanted to tell you that you are one of the most beautiful girls I have ever seen. Now, some of you might hear that and think I came on a little too strong. Looking back on it now, hindsight's 2020, I don't think I came on strong enough. I should have led with I love you. Signed, Charles, and then like a little kiss, and then, maybe go from there. So after I said this, she responds with a simple question mark. Nothing else, just one character, a question mark. I was already in the hospital, but if I wasn't, that right there would have sent me to the hospital with fucking cardiac arrest. That shit hurt so goddamn bad at the time. But I mean, what can you expect when someone leads with some shit like this? This is the kind of shit you see on Twitter with like a bad English associated with it, with a send bobs and bitch lasagna, please, vagina look good with penis and stuff like that. It's a creepy message. Any girl should respond with a question mark or nothing at all. But anyway, my spirits weren't deterred. I continued. Yeah, I'm in the hospital and just said, fuck it, it's worth a try. You probably don't think the same. You probably don't think the same about me, but I just wanted to say that. That's some nice guy shit right there. Jesus Christ. Well, this is pretty fucking bad. Let's keep going. To that she says, oh, I'm sorry, frowny face, but thanks, I guess. Why are you in the hospital? I'm surprised she even believed I was in the hospital, to be honest. You got a fucking stranger coming at you, pretending like he's going off to war and sending a love letter out there like it's some goddamn type of anime. If someone sent me shit like this, I'd be like, yeah, sure, buddy. I'm sure you're in the hospital. What do you have? Small dick syndrome going on? There's no cure. Get out of my DMs. I have recurrent pneumothorax in my left lung. It has collapsed 3 times, and tomorrow I have surgery to repair it. Sad violins playing, I'm sure, when I was typing this. I just wanted to tell you that before I had the surgery. I know that it is... Excuse me, I've got to scroll to the next one. Oh, it's a little out of order. 2019 Charlie clearly doesn't know how to fucking screenshot things in order. Oh, here we go. I know that it is a weird way to start a conversation. I also know that I came on way too strong telling you that. Self-awareness, key. Key! Even back then I had it. Even back then I'm like, Jesus, I'm sounding really fucking weird, but I'm still going for it. Didn't stop me. Should have stopped me, to be honest. Yeah, that's the lesson to take away here. Don't do this. You know, at this, when you're starting to recognize like, holy shit, this is too strong and I'm being very weird, just stop. Then she says something very odd. On behalf of all the YouTube comments, Charles, I hope you cut your hair. I'm not cutting my hair. She didn't say that. I'm just telling you, stop telling me to fucking cut my hair. I want to see what it looks like real long. I want to look like a goddamn lead singer in a mid-2000s emo band. Just let me fucking have this, alright? So anyway, she asks about the surgery and shit. Nothing to talk about there. But then, as we're starting to wrap up, I say, just wondering, do you know who I am? If you don't, I bet this is the most fucked up conversation you've ever been a part of. I mean, yeah, that's definitely a fucked up way of going about things, past Charles. Jesus Christ. I sound like some type of spoiled rich kid. Do you know who my father is? He invented Bing. I'm a big deal. Please, please love me, please. God damn it. I'm in the hospital. For God's sakes, do you know who I am? God, these are such embarrassing messages. She says, haha, no, I do know who you are. Like, I've seen you, but that's it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that sounds about right. I was a very odd guy, odd looking too. I had this really weird my hair looks like shit now, but back then I had an even weirder hairstyle where I shaved all, like the side, the back, and the top of my head, like it was a one with the clippers, but the front was about as long as it is now. So everything was pretty shaven except the bangs. So yeah, I was a fucking lunatic. It'd be hard to forget it'd be hard not to see me and make fun of me. I was one step shy of like a trench coat fedora wearing fucking loser in high school. I really was. So yeah, it makes sense that she at least remembered what I looked like, because I looked like a goddamn fucking psychopath. So to that I said, "Oh, sorry. I bet this is weird for you, huh?" The only way to make things like this not weird is to keep saying, "Yeah, this is probably weird, right?" That way, it's, it takes the tension off. It's like, oh, he's saying it's weird. It can't be weird if he keeps talking about how weird it is. All right, it makes sense. Like, pretty much every fucking line I say in here is about how weird it is, and yet I keep going. To that, she says, "I don't mind at all." So then, in closing, this is my finisher. This is my Mortal Kombat fatality. My big grand finale here. All right, cool. Maybe when I get out of here, we can talk more so I can get to know you a little better. I'm not as weird as this conversation makes me seem. You know. Little pro tip to the ladies: don't take someone up on that offer. They most likely are pretty fucking socially inept. I certainly was, 100%. We never talked after this. I can't imagine why, but we never spoke or anything. Nothing ever came of this, unsurprisingly. However, I'm sure if we did, I would have been still just as socially inept talking in person as I was on the Facebook Messenger. So the lesson, ladies and gentlemen, don't be weird. That's always the advice I give to someone going into college and shit. Just don't be weird. Don't be super forward. Don't be super out there. Just be normal conversations. Let things, simmer, develop, sniff things out. Don't just come in there guns blazing, fucking jerking off. "I love you. Do you love me?" Like, come on. Come on, 2011 Charlie. I look back on shit like this and I'm like, Jesus Christ. I never recognized how bad I was until, like, you get older. So, it's a pretty embarrassing story. Maybe it's not as embarrassing for listening to it, but for me, recollecting on this, it's fucking bad, man. Like, Jesus Christ. That girl was probably scared for her fucking life, thinking I'd be tossing pebbles at her window late at night at like 2 a.m. "Hey, did you think about me in the hospital? I'm alright now. You want to talk?" Shit, man. Well, that's the end of the story. Another nice tale for the compendium of awful interactions I've had with women, all of which being my fault, from my past. So, yeah, fuck yeah. That's it. See ya. It's been a little while since I've told this story, so go ahead and hop on my lap here by the fireplace and I'll tell you a tale. As is common with most of my stories I've told on the channel, this takes place during the period of my life where I thought it was cool to be a mysterious anime character. This was like my early years of college. As you can probably imagine, my ability to socialize during this time was absolutely pathetic. Having a conversation with a magic 8-ball would have been more fun and engaging than talking to me back then. Those poor souls that talked to me back then probably instantly regretted it, because having a conversation with old Charlie was like talking to Alexa if she was overdosing on Xanax. It was rough. Why is this important though? Because this is setting the stage for one story I haven't told yet. I've told so many stories when it comes to all of the fucking weird and creepy interactions I've had with women. All my fault, of course, just because I was so unbelievably socially inept. Like, it's hard to put into words how bad I was at recognizing social cues and how to be, like, acceptable in society. I fucking bought one of those fake cigarettes one time. You know that shit that kids would buy from Spencer's when they were like 12? I bought one of those things when I was 18 because I thought it looked cool and I hated real cigarettes. You know how fucking sad that is? I'm surprised I didn't buy one of those colorful propeller hats and started spinning it to try and look cool or something. It was rough. So what I'm saying is, socially, I was the worst thing you could fucking imagine. But it didn't stop me from trying to have conversations with women. I tried to fake confidence, fake it to make it, and all of that shit. And today's story will be in that ballpark. So this story takes place in a location where all good social interactions take place, at GameStop. So let me take you back to the past when my social interactions sucked ass. This is GameStop 2012, 2011, somewhere in that ballpark. I was, of course, Virgin Boy Charlie, if you can even believe that. Some say I lost my virginity before my dad, but the truth is, I was actually a virgin, embarrassingly enough. And I was doing what all virgins did, using Reddit for some advice. And Reddit is one of the worst places when it comes to seduction and just general advice when it comes to human interaction, because it's the blind leading the blind. The people giving that advice, they have likely never talked to a human being before. They're probably getting all of their social cues the same place I was. Fucking anime. So I was using anime and r/relationship or something. I don't remember what subreddit. And these two things were clashing, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to take both of these, do like a little unholy fusion dance, and become this ultra Chad, the product of great advice and great animation. And I was going to channel this and show that, I'm becoming more confident in myself by flirting with girls in public. And I chose my first rodeo to be at GameStop. Before going to GameStop, I had decided that I was going to march into GameStop, right up to the counter to the girl that worked there and call her beautiful right to her face. I was going to look her in the eyes. I was going to say, "Ma'am, you are fucking beautiful. You are gorgeous." I don't know what I expected to happen next because I didn't have a follow-up. Maybe I was fantasizing like one of those dream scenes where all of a sudden, like an anime, the girl blushes and then she calls out her 3 twin sisters or something. And they all fall in love with me. I don't know. But that was my game plan. And I was hyping myself up. I was like a football player in the locker room before the championship game, headbutting lockers. I put on a necklace, and I never wear a necklace. I found like this old gold necklace from probably when I was a kid, but my neck is still the same size as a kid's, so it still fit. I spiked my hair up real well, fucking drowned it in gel, and I mean drowned it in gel. I looked like a freshly born baby covered in amniotic fluid up there, and I felt like $1,000,000. Today was the day I was going to say to a girl, she is beautiful. So I hop into my Batmobile and I cruise on over to GameStop. I get to the door, I open it, and it's like everything else just melted around me. Time froze, and there she was, behind the desk, the only female employee at this particular GameStop, and she looked miserable. Probably because she's working at a fucking GameStop, but I was gonna make her day better by being the only man in GameStop history with the confidence to say that she was beautiful. I'm sure she doesn't hear that every day from other socially inept fucking slime balls, so I was going to be the first, the trendsetter. Truly a pioneer. So I meandered around a little bit, just making sure I was building up enough confidence, going over the lines in my head. The line I was going to use was when she was done ringing me up, I was going to say, "Thank you, beautiful," and then wait to see her response, see what she says to this, hoping that she wouldn't call the police or have security come tackle me. So, I finally pick out a game, some used game I'm sure, because I was big into used games for a long time. I slam that shit on the counter because I'm ready. She starts by asking me a couple questions. Am I a member of GameStop Power Plus Ultra program? Well, no, I'm not. She's going off script. I wasn't accounting for this. It's freeform now. The dialogue has been all fucked up. I'm getting a little jumbled in my head. I'm getting nervous. I wasn't expecting to be interrogated by her today. I'm not a member of this GameStop program. Would I like to be? Well, shit, would it help my chances with you? I don't know. I'm going through all kinds of scenarios in my head. It's like a visual novel. There's a bunch of different branching paths I could choose from. I'm panicking. I'm breaking down a bit. My composure is starting to falter. There's sweat on my brow and a tickle in my sack. I was not prepared for this at all. She then asked me, do I want my receipt? Another question I wasn't anticipating. Do I say, "Thank you, beautiful"? Now, no, that wouldn't make sense because she asked me a question. I can't just respond with I have to answer the question. Everything's all falling apart at once. It's like Salvador Dali's painting where the clocks are melting. I'm running out of time. I don't know when to say this line. And no, I don't really want this receipt. What am I going to do? Wipe my ass with it? I paid $3 for some garbage used game. I tell her, no, thank you. You keep the receipt. And that's when she says it. A sentence that could dampen the pants of any man, even the strongest men. She says, "Thank you for shopping at GameStop." I freeze. I don't know how to respond. I stand there for what feels like hours, looking at the ground, wondering, is now the time? And then I decide I muster the courage within myself, the strength to go forward. I say, "Thank you, beautiful." I'm still looking at the ground when I say this, because I haven't earned the right to look my GameStop queen in the eyes yet. And then I do what any sane man would do. I ran away. I fucking jogged away. Before she could even, actually respond, I started jogging away with the bag in my hand like I just stole the game from GameStop. But I did hear her say, "Oh." I know for a fact she said, "Oh," as I turned my back to run away. I ran all the way to my car, hearing that "oh" in my head the entire way there, got in, slammed the door, and I thought to myself, Charlie, you did it. We just made that employee extremely uncomfortable, and man, do I feel like shit about it. It was a good lesson to learn. That was probably already the 5th or 6th time that lady had been hit on that day by fucking weirdos like me. She probably just up and quit that day. That was probably the last straw right there. I don't know, because I never went back. I was just so goddamn embarrassed about this whole thing, but I do imagine she quit that day. But yeah, I tell you this story in the hopes that people will learn from it. Don't make the same mistakes I did. Don't be a fucking weirdo, and don't, yeah, that's basically it, really. That's about it. See ya.